Before I show you an example of how to create an object via the class syntax, I just want us to talk about constructor functions in a bit more detail. Because once you understand how a constructor function works in terms of prototypes, you'll realize that the class syntax is just a syntactical sugar around a constructor function. Let me show you what I mean. Let's just create a constructor function called person, which takes in a first name, last name, and that's it. And we set this first name to be first name, this last name to be last name, and let's have a getName method. Where we just console log using template literals this first name and this last name. Very intuitive. You've been through this before, so you know exactly how this works. And the second step to a constructor function is, that's right, instantiating the object. So let's say user equals new, let's say user1 equals new person. And this is John Doe. And as you know, we can get the name. And it should console log this out to the screen. There you go, John Doe. You're already familiar with this. This shouldn't come as a surprise. But this is where it starts getting interesting. If we've got a user2 that comes along, and this is Wally Warthog, this looks okay, looks good. But behind the scenes, do you know what's actually happening? When that new keyword is used, JavaScript is literally copying that constructor function, all the properties and methods from that constructor function, and it's placing it onto the new object we've created, the new variable. The problem with this is that it's a waste of memory space, makes our application slower. You don't want to be duplicating this getName method, for example. Once we write it once, why not just have it stored in one place, rather than having duplicates and duplicates, hundreds and thousands stored absolutely everywhere and every time you use a new keyword? That's the one problem. But before I tell you how to fix this, I just want to show you that every time a function is created in JavaScript, the engine automatically places a prototype property on that function. Let me show you what I mean. Let's just copy this so we don't have to write it out again. Control C. I'm just going to open up our console here and paste it in. So there's our function in Google console. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to go person, and I want to show you that it has a prototype property. And that prototype property is the constructor function, which is this whole constructor function here. That's what that constructor function is. And every time you create a new instance of it, it's going to copy those values onto that new instance. I can prove that to you. Let's say here, let user1 equal new person, just like we did before. And what do we call him? John Doe. When we console log out user, we have a look here and we open it up. Look at this. This getName function, this method, has been copied to this object. And again, it's got the proto object with the constructor function pointing to this. So you can already see there are duplicates. We're rewriting out, we're restoring in memory things that we don't necessarily have to. And this brings me to the point of this whole lecture. How do we solve this problem? Well, what you can do is you can add a prototype onto that function. And that gets stored once instead of getting duplicated across multiple instances. Let me show you what I mean. So let's go back to our console here. Now let's say we've defined user1 as John Doe. Let's get rid of user2 for now. But now we want to, on our constructor function, add another property called age. But we want to do this on the prototype. So we go person, prototype, because we know each function created in JavaScript automatically has this prototype property. And there we can have an age, and let's just say it's 35. You already know we've defined user before we've done this. But if we now console log user1 age, you can see console logs 35. it's automatically got access to that prototype. So what's cool with this is that now that age property on the prototype is only stored once in memory. Have a look at this. If we console log out user 1, you don't immediately see the age, do you? No, which is awesome, but it is going to be attached to its prototype. And I'll show you that now. Let's go back to our console quickly. And we can see here, if we go person.a.prototype.age equals 35, and now we console log out user again, you can see we don't see age on its immediate properties. But look at this. Within its prototype object, there's the age. How awesome is this? So this is now constructor functions, prototypes, and the like. And now I think you're ready to get into the class object syntax. Let's have a look.